Now that we know how to make sure that a component is always visible on the screen, regardless of what page the user is looking at, we're going to start actually working on our header component. Now if we take a look at our mockups for this thing, let me pull those up really quickly. Remember, the header is supposed to have a link back to the central stream list page. It's supposed to have another link back to the stream list page over here, and then eventually it should also have a login button. Now to actually create the header, we're going to make a separate component. We also need to make sure that we wire up Semantic UI to our project as well, because we're going to rely upon some styling inside that library to get the header to show up really nicely with some pretty good styling. I think that we should first begin by wiring up Semantic UI to our project. So as usual, I will do a search for Semantic UI CDN. I'll pull up this link, and I'll search for semantic.min.css. Here it is right here. So I'm going to copy that link. I will pull it back over to my public index.html directory, and right underneath the existing link tag, I'll put in a rel style sheet, and then I'll paste the href in and close the tag off. All right, let's save that really quickly. Now if I flip back over to my application, I see the different font on the screen, which is an indication that, yeah, the Semantic UI is loaded up correctly. All right, so let's now flip back over to our code editor. Inside of our components directory, we're going to create a new header component. Now we're going to make this inside of components as opposed to streams, because this is not a component that has anything to do with our streams. So at the components directory, I'll make a new file called header.js, and then at the top, we'll put together some boilerplate for a functional component. So I will say import React from React, then const header, and inside there, I will return a div with, how about, I don't think we need any other divs right now. We'll come back and do the styling in just a second. So I'll just put in the text header like so, and then we'll say export default header at the bottom. I'll save this, then we'll flip back over to our app.js file. Okay, here's app.js. I'll make sure that I import the header from header, and then I'm going to show the header right above my browser router, right here. So I'll say header, like so. All right, really quickly, we'll flip back over and make sure we just see the text header. Yep, it's right there. So now we're going to add in a couple of different class names to get the header to show up nicely. All these class names are coming from the Semantic UI documentation. So if you want to pull up the documentation and take a look at the menu subsection, you'll see where I'm pulling these class names from. All right, so back inside my app component, we'll first begin by putting on a class name of UI container to our root div right here, that is right above our header. We'll then flip back over to our header component, and inside of here, we're going to put together a couple of different class names. So I'm going to turn this into a multi-line JSX expression, like so. I'll add in a div with a class name of UI, secondary, pointing menu. And then inside there, I'll put another div with the class name of right menu. And then we're going to put a link tag both inside of this div right here, the parent div, and we'll put another link tag inside of the right menu div as well. Now when I say link tag, I'm talking about that link element or the link component from the React Router DOM library. Remember, the entire idea behind our header up here is that these are going to be links that the user can click to navigate around our application. So I want to at least make sure right now that this streamer kind of logo on the left-hand side and the streams link right here are both link elements that a user can click to navigate around our application. So at the top, I'm going to import link from React Router DOM. And then inside of the top level div, I'll put a link to our root route of just / like so. I'm going to give this a class name of item, and then I'll close that link tag off, and I'll give it some title like, say, streamer. This is going to be the name of our application. Again, it doesn't really matter what we call it. You can call it streamer or streamy, whatever you want it to be. It's totally up to you on how you name it. Then inside of our div with right menu, we'll put another link tag. This is also going to go back to our root route that has our list of all of our different streams. And so I'm going to give this a class name of item as well. Oops, I closed it off with the div, my mistake. So I'll put the link tag in there instead. and then I'll give it the text something like all streams, because it's going to be a link back to our entire big list of streams. Now you'll notice that we have 2 links inside the header that's going to take a user back to the root route. That is totally normal, nothing out of the ordinary about that. Entirely likely that you would want to have a user able to click a header or the logo on the top left-hand side, and then also have a very clear link on the right-hand side as well. All right, so let's save this. And now if we flip back over to our application, oh, I got a little typo inside of my import up here. Make sure I have React Router DOM. So I'll save that. And now we run into an interesting little issue right here. So the error says you should not use a link outside of a router. So I bet you might be able to guess why we are seeing this error message, but let's take a quick pause right here. We'll come back to the next section. We'll talk about exactly why we are seeing this and how we're going to fix it. So quick break, and I'll see you in just a minute.